Okay. And tell me anytime you're ready.
Ready.
Okay. Begin.
Change. I am getting older. Friends. Sorry, can I start again?
Okay, that's okay.
That was nice.
Okay, start.
Change. I am getting older. Friends disappear. Neighborhoods vanish. Relationships become vague memories from a distant past.
What used to be important to me is trivial now. What I never used to think about
Now moves me to tears. Sometimes from sadness, more often from fear. Change is relentless, like the flowing torrents of a mighty river, never stopping, never ending,
always rushing by, inexorably shaping my life.
I'll tell you. Okay, start.
What do sea lions dream about? The sea lions, admirable creatures, swimming to and fro, posing for the crowd, barking for attention. At feeding time, throngs of people gather to admire them for their strength, their form,
their gracefulness, their enjoyment of life. But when the zoo closes, and the visitors leave, and the attendants go home,
and all is quiet, and the sea lions go to sleep, what do they dream about? The days when they
roamed free in the seas, the days when they frolicked in the waves,
the days when they swam with the whales, the days when they caroused with the polar bears? What do sea lions dream about? Journey of life. I am on a journey of life, a journey I travel alone.
I have relatives. I have friends. I have hobbies. I have work. I have traveled and done many interesting things. Still, I am alone, profoundly alone.
A microbe in the sea of humanity, a molecule in a vast expanse of the universe, a plankton in the riptide of life, subject to forces that overwhelm me, carrying me somewhere. I know not where. The Williamsburg Bridge. It's an old structure now. Rusting steel,
needs constant repairs, covered with soot, grimy, taken for granted, simply a means of conveyance. But when it was new, it was grand. It shined in the sun, a marvel of engineering and a work of art,
and still is today if you look closely. Its massive steel girders, its tall support towers, its wide roadways and long subway tracks proclaim to the world, we are important,
we matter, we still count. So don't forsake us, don't tear us down because we're old. Let us live.
Circus of life. People on the street, walking, running, riding, doing all sorts of things.
They are a cavalcade of stars, all mingling together, like actors on a stage, performing in that big show unfolding right in front of me. A spectator in the stands who is a participant too in the circus of life. Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls.
Majestic curtains of surging water, cascading, never ending,
onto the jagged rocks below, creating a roar like rolling thunder, a tidal wave of sound reverberating off the cliffs, both powerful and soothing. It can even lull a baby to sleep. And of course, the mist, floating high into the sky, the plumes of gossamer silk meeting the rays of the sun, forming radiant rainbows, each a crescent of dazzling colors, like a tiara of diamonds adorning the head of a royal queen. For Niagara Falls is nature's gift to humanity, her splendor unmatched, her beauty sublime, to be admired and treasured like a priceless gem for all time.
New York sunrise. It's a grimy city, crowded, congested, filthy,
People pushy, indifferent, sometimes nasty. It's a noisy city. Lots of cars, lots of buses, lots of trucks. A cacophony of sights and sounds, irritating to the eyes, disturbing to the ears. Indeed, insulting to all the senses and bodily organs, especially the brain, which can barely cope with all the pressure and sometimes breaks down. Yet, despite the grime, despite the noise, despite everything that makes life in a city cold and hard,
there are mornings when the sun shines through the clouds, like a glowing beacon on a fog-shrouded beach, creating streams of light that beam to the earth and illuminate the sky, producing a vista of beauty that brings tears of joy to the hardened city dweller and makes life once again worth living. Okay. People talk. People talk, sometimes yell, making noise, lead to quell. People work, sometimes slave, losing sleep, but cannot save. People fight, sometimes flee, losing peace, never free. People laugh, sometimes cry, want relief, but the wells all dry. People seek, sometimes find, they get upset and want to hide. People scream and argue too. It's not so nice and it's not so cool.
people dream and have ideas for a better life that's full of cheer. River of Time. Don't be angry. Don't be sad. Just be happy. Just be glad. Life flows on just like a stream.
It passes by like a sleeper's dream. You walk your dogs and you pet your cats. It gives you pleasure that you hope will last. So when you chat, just keep in mind that life's a flowing down the river of time.
Okay, start.
The fan. Went to work, had a cup of brew, saw the sports page, then started feeling blue. Dredged up some memories of things from the past when I was a kiddie, which I thought would always last. We went to the ball games, the tickets were cheap, cheered for great Sorry.
I start from the beginning.
Why don't you do this one? All right.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
That's good. Well, you know, when I was a kid, turn off the recorder. You know, when I was a kid, in fact, even when I was an adult, I used to collect autographs, baseball players. I mean, I did that a little bit as a kid, but mostly as an adult. And some of the autographs I got were from some pretty famous players. Sal Magley. Here's a autograph of Sal Magley. Remember Bruce? Remember Sal Magley? Great pitcher, right? Here's Bobby Richardson, New York Yankees. What a great player. 7-time All-Star. Played on something like 10 World Series teams. Fantastic. Wonderful. Johnny Sain, Art Ditmar. Remember them? Solid pitchers, right? Relief pitchers. New York Yankees. Some of the best relief pitchers of their time. And Tex Clevenger, New York Yankees, 1961. I remember him. Fantastic. Al Kaline, come on, one of the great players. Saw him play the old Yankee Stadium. Remember that, Bruce? The old Yankee Stadium.
The real
Yankee. Thank you, Bruce. And Jim Northrup, he was a center fielder. Solid player. Solid. And, then Charlie Smith, Chico Fernandez, they played for the New York Mets. And Carl Furillo. Must I say any more? Except, of course, to the uninitiated, who they don't know who he was, and that's their problem. Okay. Fantastic. And Carl Erskine.
Of course.
Carl Erskine, Brooklyn Dodgers. And Jesse Gonda, he was a catcher for the New York Mets. Now this photograph is taken at the Polo Grounds. Like Mayor Bloomberg wanted to build a stadium in Manhattan. There once was a stadium in Manhattan. It got torn down. Remember, I used to go there, paid $1 to see the New York Mets. It was wonderful. And the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because when I was a kid and went to see the New York Mets and followed these wonderful players, I thought they would live forever. I thought baseball like that would last. I thought the Polo Grounds would be forever. I thought all those landmarks that were part of my childhood would never end. It would never end. But it ended. So the best that I could do about that was to write a poem about it. And this is the poem that I wrote. It's entitled, A Stranger in My Own Time. Remember when a subway ride cost 15 cents? And a pack of baseball cards cost a nickel? It was a long time ago. Remember when Mickey and Y.A. were the talk of the town? And Casey managed the Mets? And there was a place called the Polo Grounds? And Tom Treasure, the American League Rookie of the Year? It was a long time ago. Or how about when people went to drive-in movies? Drove into the movie? And a double feature cost 50 cents? And Marilyn Monroe and Clark Gable were still alive? Not just names. And Johnny Carson was a game show host. He wasn't even in late night. He was actually a daytime talk show or game show host. It was a long time ago. And what about a time when families stayed together? Remember those groups? Families actually stayed together. And divorce was almost unknown. Oh, God forbid somebody's getting divorced. And their children respected their parents? Really? And Fess Parker starred as Davy Crockett? And Dr. Kildare and Dr. Ben Casey were our medical heroes? It was a long time ago. Remember when there were factories? And a college education was affordable? And housing was affordable too? Yes. My friends, there was a time when housing was affordable in this country. And silver coins were not collectibles. It was a long time ago. Remember when the United States seemed really united? I remember that. And neighborhoods were stable. And kids played stickball, punchball, and boxball. and we had faith in our political leaders, it was a long time ago. Remember when the military was respected? And the policeman walked the beat? And every daddy was a hero and a breadwinner? Remember that, Bruce? Your daddy was, it was assumed he was a hero and a breadwinner. And not only assumed, it was an accurate assumption. They were heroes and breadwinners. And our presidents were stalwart. And the United Nations meant something. And Alan B. Shepard was a national hero. Yes, Alan B. Shepard. And Vietnam was just a name on a map. That was a long time ago too. Now everything has changed. And once what was is gone forever. Transformed by time and revealing in its wake a landscape full of landmarks now devoid of meaning, except for us. Mere monuments to a time long past, but not forgotten. Thank you, thank you. Now for my next poem, it's kind of like connected up to the photos that I showed you before, these wonderful, wonderful ball players. Any of these players ever take steroids? What do you think? I don't think so. Any of these players, maybe they had a highball or two, maybe they smoked a cigarette, but were they mainlining drugs? You think Al Kaline and Jim Northrup or Bobby Richardson were doing that? Dominic, what do you think? You think a player like Bobby Richardson, 7-time All-Star? You think a guy like that would be using crap like that? Drugs, narcotics, steroids, body-altering, mind-altering medication? I don't think so. You mean Carl Furillo? I bet if somebody went to Carl Furillo and said, we're gonna put steroids on you, he steroid you. Right. Dominic, what do you think Furillo would have done to him? Give him like that, you told me about that right uppercut, right? He's gonna give that guy the right uppercut, right to the jaw, right? Steroids. These guys are great players, and they had character, and they cared. They were wonderful. And this is kind of, the poem I'm going to do now is kind of a testimony, a testament to their greatness, to their character. It's called The Fan. I had to clear my throat. Went to work, had a cup of brew, saw the sports page, and started feeling blue. Dredge up some memories of things from the past. When I was a kiddie, which I thought would always last. We went to the ball games. The tickets were cheap. Cheered for great players who were the best of the heat. I remember when Mickey was the king of the roost. He and Maris went at it and gave baseball a boost. And then there was hockey, which we all really liked. With Andy and Gump. Remember Andy Badgate, Gump Worsley? These were the superstars of their time, whose play caused delight. Now, as a matter of fact, Andy Badgate, he led the New York Rangers in scoring about 10 straight seasons. He led the league in scoring once. He was the league MVP. And Gump Worsley, he was phenomenal. He was a combination goalie and defenseman, since the Rangers had some of the crummiest defensive hockey players in the league at the time. He was fantastic. He would normally make like 40 to 50 saves a game. And he was loved. Gump Worsley was loved and admired. Anyway, let me go back to the poem. We went to see pro hoops at the old Madison Square, the one on 49th and 8th. Saw Jerry and Bill. Jerry West, Bill Russell. I know, there are other players now, I know. But after you've seen Jerry West and Bill Russell, you become very spoiled. That's why I can't watch basketball now. I was spoiled watching Jerry West and Bill Russell, and a whole bunch of other players. They are symbolic of the whole bunch of those wonderful, wonderful, wonderful players. They were the greatest in there. I recall the bald eagle who captained the team, coached by Al Sherman. There was a big blue machine. You know what I'm talking about, Bruce, right? They went up against Green Bay, but twice they did lose. It's now all forgotten, but back then it made news. Now, many years later, things really have changed. The players are juiced up and are really depraved. They're bigger and stronger than the guys in the past, but lack what it takes to do great things at last. They can set all the records to their utmost content, but forever there'll be questions whether their stats are legit. Because what it comes down to is a matter of trust. Is the player a cheater or just one big bust? Maybe the problem goes beyond the ballpark. Perhaps we have to look at what's going on inside us. The players and owners are in society too. And if they are cheating, what are we supposed to do? The players are heroes. That is what we are told. They're supposed to do great things and act really bold. Times have changed greatly. Expectations are high. The money is big. The payoff real fine. As long as the fans are willing to pay, the players will do things to make sure they make hay. Because what it comes down to is what the fans want. The cheating will cease when they finally say enough. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to recite one more poem. Put the recorder on pause, okay? Okay. Now, you know, at this time of the year, there are two holidays. There's Easter and Passover. They're both being celebrated around the same time. And you know what Easter is about? It's about the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Now I'll tell you, there are some people who are skeptical about whether there was a Jesus Christ, whether he was ever crucified. I'm not one of those people. I believe there was a Jesus Christ, and I believe that he was crucified. Now, what do I say that for? I'm going to tell you, Bruce. I'm going to tell you, Dominic, my good friend here, Sandra, because Jesus was a Jew. And I don't think the Romans would have bothered with him if he wasn't a Jew. Can you imagine the Romans going through the gyrations that they went through to crucify and take another Roman? I don't think so. But I'm convinced it happened. And regarding the Passover, that happened too. I don't think that's a legend. You know? And, you know, Moses, by divine command, led the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage, through the Red Sea and into the wilderness. Right? We erected a tabernacle to God to commemorate that miraculous east wind which wrought its mighty deliverance. That's right. I believe those words. I don't think that's just a fable. I believe it. Dominic, I believe that. Sandra, I believe that. And everybody else here, I believe it. So, with that in mind, I wrote a poem. I'm going to recite it now. It's called Holiday Season. It is a nice poem, though. At least I think it is. You judge. Holiday season. The holidays are now here upon us. The season of joy has arrived, and some of us since have departed, but for the rest, we are all still alive. We go about doing our business and try to do what we think right, and try and laugh and talk with each other, like nothing can ever cause fright. But alas, something always does happen to make us feel somewhat disturbed, and that is when we must take action to prevent us from getting perturbed. So if there is something a-brewing that may give us cause for alarm, just step back and take a few moments and act like you're under a charm. And as the calmness sedates you and makes you feel good and relaxed, just lay back and savor the moment, like you're lolling in a hot water bath. And during the moments of pleasure that put you at peace and at rest, remember the holiday season, and then wish your friends all the best. So how about we all wish each other all the best? Bruce, all the best. Dominic, all the best. Sam, you guys, you wish each other all the best. Okay, very good. Thank you for listening to the poem. I notice everybody's still awake, and I'm very grateful for that. Okay, thank you. We're going to take a break now.